Hello, everybody. We are live again. We're talking with whiskey shots. I did another whiskey shots video probably a couple months ago now, and I use the title whiskey shots when I want to talk about something that the YouTube gods love. So, cheers to whiskey shots, and we're gonna go deep here into stuff I've never talked about before. Before I do. Look, we had this in the last whiskey shots video. There's this idea that your bosses want to do whiskey shots with you. In fact, they want to make you do whiskey shots with them. And in fact, just a heads up, yesterday that whiskey shot initiative went into effect, regardless of the fact that the Supreme Court is still reviewing whether to decide on whether Biden can tell every boss, yeah, you got to do whiskey shots with your employees. Sorry, your employees aren't drinkers? Too bad. Whiskey shots all around, And by the way, Rochelle Walensky, it was just published on ABC yesterday that her interview with ABC saying, we're doing a whiskey shot series, not just the original series, but the Boost series. So she's calling it a Boost series now. So get prepared. You're going to be doing a lot of shots with your boss. Okay, but I'm going to go deep into some things that I've never talked about before, things I've observed, things that people have talked about as conspiracy theories. And I don't just, I consider myself very level-headed. And so I don't just jump into these topics with the rest of the people. I observe, and if there seems to be information coming to me that I think is of value to you guys, then I'll dive into it. And so we're going to dive into it today. Before I do, I'm going to shout out the sponsor of my coverage, which is Virtual Shield. A newly discovered software flaws is possibly the most crucial vulnerability of the last decade for anyone with an internet-connected device. This software vulnerability grants hackers, spies, and criminals easy access to customer data off of countless enterprise-level websites. Your privacy is in your hands. That is why I use Virtual Shield every time I connect to the internet. Virtual Shield helps protect my online data from hackers, data mining companies, my mobile carrier, and my internet service provider. This month, I have partnered with the creators of Virtual Shield to give my audience 50% off for life and a free 30-day trial of Virtual Shield's VPN to celebrate the new year. Just go to virtualshield.com/ivory. That is the link in description to start your free trial today. They're giving you a dirt cheap offer. They're pretty awesome. How's everyone doing? What's up? Okay, so let's dive right into this. So last night I was winding my mind down to go to bed. I like to turn on History Channel to do that. And they were talking about these ancient ruins, where the ruins were made out of basalt, if I'm saying that right. And they said these ruins are ferromagnetic. And I was like, what's that? I looked it up. Ferromagnetic, it means it's a stone or other substance that is not magnetic, but when placed next to a magnet, it becomes magnetic. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And I immediately thought back to an interview I did just a couple weeks ago with a woman who turned out to be allergic to whiskey shots. I interviewed a couple women who were very allergic to whiskey shots. They found out the hard way and talked about their recovery from those and how they're trying to take back their health. Okay, you guys are catching on in the comment section. YouTube loves this topic. That's why we're talking in this way. So anyway, so I was thinking a lot about one little thing this woman, Britt Galvin, told me. She's a Florida woman who got her whiskey shot in, I think it was April, when everyone was getting them. And she... someone just told her, try putting a magnet against your shoulder. I heard that, I saw a video of someone, and so she tried it. There were videos going around initially, different people trying to put magnets against themselves, and sure enough, their arm would be magnet. Well, she thought it was hilarious. She just thought, she thought it was a joke, and she would go out to the bars and put put magnets against herself. Then she tried putting pieces of metal against herself, and everything, it all started to stick. And she was fine. She didn't have any sort of allergic reactions yet to the whiskey. So anyway, she, every time she talked to people about it, they're like, "Oh, try this, try that stunt." Her husband went and bought bigger magnets from the store. Those stuck too. She was playing around with it so much. Someone said, "Go to bed with a magnet attached to you." And that, my friends, is when all hell broke loose in her body. Her body had a serious reaction after sleeping all night with a magnet. Now, her body physically became ferromagnetic. I was not familiar with the term ferromagnetic until I watched History Channel last night. Let me just play the clip for you. Now, a lot of people don't know some of these uncensored interviews and stories I've been tackling on my uncensored website, ivoryhecker.com. I dive a lot deeper than I can here on YouTube. But I'm going to play a clip, just a clip from ivoryhecker.com. By the way, link to my uncensored website is linked in my description. Let's play a clip of what Britt was talking about.
I couldn't open up my airways. My legs started going numb. It went all the way up to like my thighs. I felt like I was on fire, just internally. Like I felt like everything was just boiling.
And that was within hours after the second shot?
No, that was the 13th day after, when I slept with a magnet on my arm as a joke.
Oh, wow. So maybe.
Yeah, I know. And people can laugh at me. It's like the dumbest thing ever, but when when you don't take something serious and you think it's just a joke and you're mocking yourself and you're mocking a community and you're mocking people who are saying this is going to happen, and you do it, which is what I did, and it turns out to be something different, it's a huge wake-up call. At least I'm, humble enough to admit it, I guess. I don't know.
Wow. So maybe sleeping with a magnet on instigated something in your body, huh?
I think I just kept messing with the metal way too much.
So when I was Googling and reading about ferromagnetism, it's just the substance has to be subjected to a magnet. It has to come close to a magnet to be stimulated to become magnetized. And it was interesting to me that she was putting a magnet against her. Then she tried putting unmagnetic metal against her, and her body itself was now a magnet. It was attracting a car key or whatever she put against her. Now, she has documented this immensely. Many videos, even videos of her demonstrating this with the doctors and nurses and them being baffled. Like it's clear from looking at how her transparency on social media, this is something that's really happening to her. And it's interesting, Instagram has deplatformed her a couple times. Why would they want to? I understand they want to deplatform her to take away any hesitancy. But this is something that's really happened. And instead of just taking away her platform, where's the curiosity? Why not look into why on earth this happened, and why hasn't it happened to other people? What was it in the whiskey? What was it in the whiskey that was ferromagnetic? What was it? And is it in everyone's whiskey? And when you think about it, well, everyone's not messing around with magnets every day, and everyone's definitely not sleeping with a magnet against them at night. So when I heard her say that, because my whole question with her was like, why are you such a fluke? Why isn't it, if there's something in that whiskey, why isn't it happening to everyone? And when she mentioned that big page turn of like when she slept with that magnet, when she had that magnet on her all night, that is when insane side effects happened. She was like paralyzed, felt like her body was burning from the inside, all these things. So, but something in that was ferromagnetic long before that. But the more magnet she put against her, the more ferromagnetic she seemed to get, and the more reactive her body seemed to get. So what was it in there? Now, a lot of you guys, when you Google this, there's actually, of course, there's fact check sites out there. And I looked at an article from McGill Office of Science and society, can whiskey shots make your body magnetic? And he's like, this guy's breaking it down very sarcastically. He's like, think what happens when you cut a raw potato with a knife. Pretty hard to unstick it. That's because when two smooth surfaces are brought together, there's an attraction between them due to van der Waals force. So basically, he's saying the moisture of the potato is connecting to the knife. And so I don't know. And they're both smooth surface, but also the potatoes are sticky on the inside. That's why they stick to a knife a little bit. I mean, they're moist. Anyway, so he's making that comparison to debunk it. But it's clear from looking at all her videos, this is not an issue of like moisture on her skin. Now, a lot of people pointed straight to this topic that I've never tackled on YouTube before, which is GRAPHENEOXIDE or GO. I'm not going to say it so the bots pick it up, but we're going to tackle this topic because people are saying, well, that's what was activated in her. And of course, the fact checkers swarm out and say, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Well, now that I had this word ferromagnetic, you can actually just Google ferromagnetic and then the G word, O word, GO, ferromagnetic G oxide. And actually, there's scientific studies out, a scientific study from 2017, the magnetic frustration of G oxide, of GO. They talk here about the ferromagnetism of GO has been carefully investigated. In our previous letter, we show that GO exhibits ferromagnetic behavior owing to the G regions circulated by epoxy groups. So this substance that is rumored to be in the whiskey shots is indeed studied in scientific journals and documented to be ferromagnetic, meaning when it's in a syringe, it's not magnetic, but when subjected to a magnet, it can become magnetic. And Britt Galvin is a testament of that happening. So that was shocking to me just to see, it's obviously ferromagnetic. If you that's something that Google hasn't gotten around to censoring yet. You can easily Google ferromagnetic GO and all the studies that indicate that it is indeed something. It's a substance that can be magnetized. Now, of course, fact check articles abound. Here's one from healthdesk.org. How do we know that GO isn't used in the whiskey shots? Well, GO is a compound, they say, that contains carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen. It is used in many applications, from sensors to textiles to the potential application of medicine. This material is cheap, readily available, and can disperse in water. It is water soluble, so it may be a great solution for helping medications be absorbed. It can be produced as a powder or a solution for various uses. GO may be a useful tool in needle delivery in the future, because scientists and chemical engineers believe it can be engineered to be a safe delivery vehicle for needles. And this is literally a Health Desk fact check article trying to debunk that this stuff is in needles, but it almost seems to more robustly indicate that it could be. But their bottom line point is that no, it's not in the whiskey shot, because we read the ingredients label, and the ingredients list online for the whiskey shots says that it doesn't have GO in it. It doesn't have G oxide in those ingredients. Therefore, We believe the ingredients list online for the whiskey shots, and there's none of that oxide in there. That is what the fact checkers are saying, and that is the state of corporate media today. You know, it was a few years ago that in my corporate news job, I was just like nonchalantly thinking, well, gosh, if anyone really wanted to really take over society right now, it'd be easier than ever, because we live in a society of a supposed free press, but an absolutely lazy free press, and a free press that is just has unarmed itself, is no longer curious, no longer even like funds its newsrooms properly to tackle and investigate issues. And on top of the peer pressure culture of lack of curiosity, of like, well, if one person does get curious, we're gonna really criticize that, and you know, maybe call them a conspiracy theorist or something. So stay uncurious. So basically, if the whiskey shot companies say that this is their little 3-sentence list of ingredients online, then we take their word for it. Which brings me to something else I was studying. Something else on my uncensored website. We dive a lot deeper on my uncensored website than we can here on YouTube, but there's a part of one video that I can show you guys from my uncensored website of some Austrian and German researchers looking at the whiskey shots under a microscope and finding strange objects. Now, this was live streamed by researchers on YouTube. It was like a 2-hour YouTube live stream that I happened to catch as it was happening. I recorded some of it from YouTube as it was happening. I said, this is going to be deleted from YouTube. Sure enough, within a matter of hours, it was gone. YouTube had deplatformed this group of researchers talking about what they were seeing in the whiskey shots under a microscope. So I took what I screen recorded, I translated it, I put some subtitles so you can see what they're saying in German, and them observing, trying to figure out what that is under the microscope. So let me play a short clip for you.
Immer wieder das Gleiche, diese Blättchen, dieses spitzkantige, scharfkantige, unterschiedlich strukturierte. Da ist uns besonders aufgefallen diese Struktur. Wir haben diese Struktur, sieht aus wie so eine kleine SIM-Karte vom Handy, genauer dann auch uns angesehen, und wir sind dann mit einem Magneten auch zu diesem Objektträger nahe herangefahren.
Yeah, so you see there, I actually sped it up to disguise the video, because that is a banned video from YouTube. But anyway, you can see those perfectly square little structures floating around in the liquid. And they were saying it looks like a SIM card from a cell phone. We put a magnet up against it and nothing happened. Well, and a lot of my viewers were saying, oh, that's the GO, the G oxide. And I mean, I have no idea what it is. I just put it out there for you guys. I was like, it looks like glitter to me. Under a microscope, it looks like glitter. I have no idea what it is. But if the GO is ferromagnetic, meaning it's not instantly immediate, it's not magnetic on its own or immediately when it's placed against a magnet, that it takes time with magnets to get magnetized, that would make sense of how they put a magnet up to it and nothing happened with one little test. But whatever was in Britt Galvin's body became highly magnetized. Big magnets would stick to her. Silverware would stick to her. Just keys, crazy things. So, you know, that's something we need to be curious about and look into. Why did that happen? Well, she did something that nobody else had done. She slept with a magnet against her because someone said, just see what happens. She did a weird stunt that no one's done. And she had things happen to her that other people didn't experience. Now, that fact check article I was reading to you guys from health-desk.org on the GO in the whiskey shots. You know, they mention that GO, what is GO? What is it used for? Well, it's commonly used for sensors. So I'm looking up, okay, what are GO sensors? And this this article comes up. I've linked two of these most important articles in my description, so you can click on them and read them yourselves. This is another study. This is published in 2019, so this is before all the propaganda we've dealt with these past 2 years. This was published in 2019. G-based sensors for human health monitoring. I was like, human health monitoring. So this little oxide substance that people are saying, that is ferromagnetic. It is studied to be ferromagnetic. Others are saying it's in the whiskey shots, and Britt Galvin's mysteriously become ferromagnetic. So if what was in her whiskey shot, it must have been ferromagnetic if she became ferromagnetic right after the shot. So I'm thinking about, so then the same GO is being studied for human health monitoring in 2019. So this study from Frontiers in Chemistry Nanoscience. Since the desire for real-time human health monitoring, as well as seamless human-machine interaction, is increasing rapidly, plenty of research efforts have been made to investigate wearable sensors and implantable devices in recent years. As a novel 2D material, GRAPHENE has aroused a boom in the field of sensor research around the world due to its advantages in mechanical, thermal, and electrical properties. Numerous G-based sensors used for human health monitoring have been reported, including wearable sensors as well as implantable devices, which can realize the real-time measurement of body temperature, heart rate, pulse, oxygenation, respiration rate, blood pressure, blood glucose, electrocardiogram signal, electromyogram signal, et cetera, et cetera. So they can implant this GO in you to monitor everything that's happening in your body, like just monitor your existence. And this is a study out in 2019. I thought that was quite astounding. And then it also reminded me of a soundbite I just recently played for you guys from the Pfizer CEO himself talking about something basically very, very similar. I'll just play this for you guys again. I played it before. Here it is.
I have a question about patient engagement, and you had touched on this before. All of these advances are amazing. But even if you make the greatest drug or the greatest wearable, there's no guarantee that the patient is going to take the drug, wear the device. So how are you thinking about technology to engage the patient?
Yeah. Again, maybe I will use an example. I think it's fascinating what's happening in this field right now. I mean, FDA approved the first electronic pill, if I can call it like that. So it is basically biological chip that it is in the tablet, and once you take the tablet and dissolves into your stomach, sends a signal that you took the tablet. So imagine the applications of that, compliance, the insurance companies to know that the medicines that patients should take, they do.
Yeah, so that's FDA approved, I guess. I think, when was it? 2018, I think, is when he said that. FDA approved chips in your pill or in whatever you're taking to monitor, and they can remotely tell whether you've taken it, remotely tell all sort of body biometrics, and that this G oxide substance is actually one of it's actually been determined to be able to make those measurements, to basically track your health remotely. And but it is ferromagnetic. That's one of its issues. And Britt Galvin, like I said, turned out to her body became ferromagnetic after taking the whiskey shot. Why? So that's, I'm just like thinking about all this, like why? Okay, if this is all a conspiracy theory, why did this happen to her? And why? And is this really a conspiracy theory when he's putting that right out there? And the only missing link here is that, well, the whiskey shot company said when they listed the ingredients online that it's not in there. You know, there's like lipids in there is all. Just some lipid fat particles to help deliver the medicine. And so since they said it's not in there, then it's not in there. Okay, but what are these little sparkle flakes that I just showed you guys? When independent researchers put that under a microscope, what are those sparkle flakes? What are they? And so it's just like, okay, why isn't there more curiosity in the corporate news about this? I think we really need to be examining this. And then this also, you know, one person who has been very curious about this, and if I could give an independent journalism award, I'd give it to Stu Peters show. Check out his Rumble. I don't think YouTube would allow him on. He's probably been deplatformed by YouTube. Really look up Stu Peters on Rumble, search his name with the GO words, G oxide. And you'll find he's done a series of videos tackling evidence on that it is in the whiskey shots. But one of his most recent videos on this is the fact that one of the top German researchers documenting what is under the microscope is Andreas Noack. He died shortly after breaking down what the heck is in this the whiskey shot, and he said that GO is in there, and that he called them like nano razors is what he said. It cuts through your blood vessels, he said. And so like that's something he's putting out there that I don't know if that's true or not, but he broke it down in an extensive video. And then I guess within like hours or days later, I guess it was days later, he was found dead, but he was said to have died of a heart attack. But I guess his wife or partner believed that he had been murdered, that someone had caused that heart attack, I guess. Now I was actually able to find Andreas Noack's Telegram. He had been YouTubing a lot, and I guess he switched over to Telegram. And so his Telegram is ARCHENOACK. If you want to find his Telegram, he's no longer with us. He died of a heart attack, I think in late November it was, shortly after exposing this substance, or him calling the GO in the whiskey shot. He called it a razor, and then he dies of a heart attack. And then his wife or partner, she actually took over his Telegram channel. If you want to read his Telegram, she writes on there now. And yeah, I guess she felt that her husband had been murdered. It's interesting because a year prior to his mysterious death, he was raided by police during a YouTube live stream. So this guy, he used to YouTube about natural health, I'm told. And then once these past 2 years hit, he started to tackle the topic of the whiskey shots and all that. And he would do these hour-long YouTube live streams breaking down his findings. And German police raids him in the middle of his YouTube. And I have that video for you guys too. Here it is.
Polizei bricht gerade die Tür auf. Polizei! Ich will jeden sehen! Auf den Boden, runter, beide! Runter auf den Boden! Geh runter! Zwei Personen hier! Am Boden liegen bleiben! Wie sind Ihre Namen? Wie heißen Sie? Wie heißen Sie? Ich bin Andreas Noack. Sonst irgendwelche Messer, Waffen, irgendwas einstecken.
Nein.
Computer aus.
So, not much has changed in Germany since the 1930s, 1940s, as far as I can see. I think Germany did change, but it seems to be reverting back. He gets raided during a live stream. You see the cop, the fact that at the end the cop literally he goes for the camera and like tries to turn it around, turn it off. He knows this guy is YouTubing. And police are like, no, we weren't targeting him. We had a warrant on the whole building, and we were just kind of going to everyone's stores, as kind of an bigger city issue to make sure people are complying with the lockdowns. Nothing personally against him and his research. Like, oh, okay. And he's like, no, you guys were targeting and intimidating me for my research. And a year later, he dies of a heart attack. But anyway, he was really kind of spelling out, and he was even showing like the molecular structure of this stuff and like how the different molecules fit together. And he's breaking it down so people could really comprehend. And talking about different scientists who were, I guess, looking at the stuff under a microscope. Now, again, that was in November that he exposed that and then died. And then I think that my German doctors and researchers, the little clip I just showed you, the full video is link in description, ivoryhecker.com, uncensored. Ivoryhecker.com, whole video with the German and Austrian researchers where they put this under a microscope and say, yeah, we don't know what these little sharp square looking things are. And so it was like a month apart, I think, that they were looking at that, and then he was spelling it out, and then he dies. And then the Austrian, I reached out to the Austrian researcher who was spelling this out for officials there in Germany, and she initially was like, I'll do a Zoom interview with you. And then she just totally backed out, got silent. And I don't know why, but I assume she was probably afraid for her safety. So this is strange stuff. Of course, there's many fact checks that say, no, Andreas Noack was not killed. You know, the fact checkers went after it, like, no, it was totally natural causes that he died of a heart attack. And once again, that stuff is not in the whiskey shots because we looked on their website and they wrote the ingredients and it didn't include that stuff. So there we have it, you guys. That's the place we're at in history, is that this immense legion of corporate media that we have is rendered useless. All they do is look at an ingredients list website and say, oh, it's not in there, because they told us it's not in there. And while these independent researchers are popping up and putting stuff under a microscope and not being able to explain well, geez, that little whiskey shot website didn't list sparkle flakes, little square sharp sparkles. Those aren't in the ingredients list. But the mainstream media has its blinders on so much that it's not even looking at these videos. Independent researchers are looking at stuff under the microscope. And it helps that the YouTube gods delete that stuff as soon as it's put up on YouTube. And so fingers crossed that this video stays up. I talked in thick code words today because I want to reach some of the mainstream people who don't go to Rumble, who don't go to those other places, who need to still hear about this stuff and maintain their curiosity. If that means talking in goofy code words to make it happen on YouTube, I just want to keep that out there. And YouTube loves whiskey, turn up. So I thought I'd talk in those code words and see what happens. So what's up? That's what I had for you guys today. Just reading your comments. Thanks for tuning in. You guys are saying you think that the Supreme Court is going to betray us. Someone wrote that. Ooh, my comment section isn't Yeah, hopefully not. You know, the Supreme Court, there were definitely the female justices were very pro whiskey shot. So we'll see what happens. But they're taking their sweet time. The attorney for the businesses was saying we need an emergency injunction. You need to make a decision now. He was saying on Friday, we're begging you to just stop this mandate now. And the justices obviously haven't done that. It's now Tuesday, and they still haven't made up their mind. So we'll see what happens. By the way, this is actually kombucha. It's not whiskey. I'm not gonna be drinking whiskey on a Tuesday. I actually don't like whiskey. So what's up, guys? That's all I had to say. You guys have a good one. Go to Gab. Yeah, you know, I need to check out Gab. I've heard a lot about it. There's just so many social media sites right now. It's really overwhelming to me. I'm just dipping my toes in on Rumble. But I've heard good things about Gab. Oh, I created a MeWe account recently just to research someone for a story I was working on. The person I was covering had a MeWe account, so I created a MeWe account. I was like, this is amazing. This is like 2007 Facebook, like when Facebook was in its heyday, like when it first started, it was so freaking cool. That's how MeWe was to me. I was like, this is actually dope, but I'm pretty sure I'm the only one on this website right now. I joined it after everyone else forgot about it. So, oh well. Anyway, I have a random MeWe account. But anyway, that's all I have to say, you guys. Hope you enjoy your Tuesday evening, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Okay, bye.